Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Rotor Talk Live, Season 9, Episode 16. DJI Lito releases this week. Hope everyone is doing well. Got a great crew already in. Oh my gosh, you guys are awesome. Let's see who all is here. We got a boatload of people already here. Let's see, Steve Janess, Drone Shots, Jody, Joe's here, Logan Travis. Let's see who else we got. Joni Oki, 7-3s, my friend. Good to see you. Always. And I have a place in my heart for my ham radio guys here too. So, and I know Waypoint New England is too. Dale's here. Welcome. Art, good to see you. RJ Redding, good to see you, my friend. Logan Travis, Michael Wright, welcome, Michael. Let's see who else we got. Sergeant Rock, welcome, Sergeant Rock. Let's see here. Waypoint New England. All right. Good to see you, my friend. Thank you for stopping by. Let's see. Koopy, welcome, Koopy. Glad you're here tonight. Let's see. Okay. All right. Got a full house here tonight. Thank you guys for stopping by. First of all, I want to say, it's so nice to put names with faces for a lot of you that I met at South Florida Drone Meetup. It was awesome. It's just absolutely awesome. I can't tell you how cool it is. Like RJ Redding, you're in the chat. I know, met Danny, had a chance to talk with Phil, DD Fellows. I mean, just all of you who we met for the first time it's just God, I love it, man. Absolutely love it. And Valerie too. And see, Valerie and I are literally joined at the hips. We do just about everything, okay, together. Grocery shopping, everything. But she enjoyed it as much as I did. And meeting all you guys, she said, You have a wonderful bunch of guys there. And I said, of course I do. They're the best in the world. The best hobby in the world attracts the best people in the world. Why? I can't say anything less other than that. That's for sure. So, but no, really enjoying it. Johnny Oki, we're looking forward to seeing you. That's going to be awesome. And you know what? I was not on the ball. I did not have swag to bring. I'm going to make sure I have some swag to bring for you guys next year. Just some pens, stickers, coasters, that kind of thing. Hand it out to you guys. Just some little stuff, just for that. So, and I want to thank those of you who gave us some swag. We really appreciate that. Always. Okay. Got a lot to talk about tonight. Okay. First couple of things. First two flights of the Avata 360. Muy bueno. Okay. Wow. It's love at first flight. Okay. Not love at first sight, love at first flight. But no, it really kind of was love at first flight. Got some stuff going on about that. We're going to talk about the Lito here. Ron's going to join us here in a few. Got a lot to talk. There's a lot on the plate to talk about tonight. A lot. Casey Crime Fighter, welcome. Good to see you tonight. Wow. Okay. Well, where am I going to start? I have a whole boatload we can start with tonight. Okay. Okay. DJI's released the Power 1000, and I want to go ahead and share that. Now, it's only available in China right now, and what its status is, I don't have a clue. Okay. I cannot tell you that. It's the Power 1000 Mini. It's smaller than the other one. And one thing I do know from finding out last night, talking to Johnny, who's talked to Evelyn, she won't ship the Power units because they weigh too much. Her postal carrier, who she uses over there in Shenzhen, won't accept packages over a certain weight. And all the DJI Power ones are over a certain weight. But this is an affordable alternative if you're the kind that's looking for this kind some extra power. Now, you can put them in the back of your car, your SUV. They kind of weigh a lot, but that's kind of going to be on you. I don't know. So we'll see. But this isn't currently not available in the U.S. No idea about anything about that. Evelyn won't have them. So if you're probably wanting to get one, I don't think that there's nothing about it being banned. I didn't see anything about that, but just caveat emptor, buyer beware. And what I'm going to say is, I know we're going to talk about the Lito, but all signs are go for that, and we'll talk about that coming up here. But on anything else, I would kind of just sit back and wait. And we're going to talk about some other stuff coming up here. But no, this is coming up. This is the Power 1000. It's been released, mini. It's been released by DJI. So you're welcome to check out the articles. And again, all the articles are dropped in Build a Drone Reviewer on Facebook group. So take a look at that. Speaking of groups, okay, and I know we're going to get there, but I kind of want to throw in this public service announcement here. All right. I've created 2 new groups recently, and I want to show you the second one. The first one I created a DJI Avata 360 users group, and there is a link in the description for that. And I created another one, and it's only one of 2 that are out there right now. And it's going to be your epicenter for everything. Okay. I'm going to put reviews out there, tutorials, everything that I can find. And my stupid StreamYard is not cooperating well tonight. Okay. This is the DJI Lito series owners support group. Okay. And we're going to have, like I said, I find anything out there related to the Lito, I always look for good content. So be assured of that. All right. This is the place to go. And there's only 2 of them that are out there. So get in on the ground for, hey, Captain Ray Kelly, thanks for stopping by tonight. Be sure to go ahead and become a member of that. And also the Avata 360. And again, both of those links are in the description. You guys will do yourself a favor, because I go out there and I do a global search. What I've done is I set a Google status alert for DJI Lito and DJI Avata 360. So anytime there's some news on that, I get informed of that. I look on videos, new videos that have come on, great reviews. Want to get that out there. All right. So just kind of an FYI on that. All right. Let's see what else we got here. I know there's a article that I wanted to read to you guys. Okay. All right. It's about DJI's release schedule this month. And it's one of the busiest Aprils I think they have ever had. I mean, we're talking like in the history of the company here, with quote unquote 4 new products. Okay. The Lito is this Thursday is coming out at 8:00. We're going to have a watch party. Watch for Ron Marcus, who will be sound asleep, but on the show. No, I'm just kidding. Marcus it's going to be real early for him. Probably I think like 6 a.m. I'm not sure. Maybe even earlier than that, but he'll be there. I'll be there. Ron will be there. Maybe Johnny will be there. And we're going to talk about what's going on. We're going to give you all the 411 on the Lito. So stay tuned for that. Ron will get links together. I'll make sure that we get them out there for everybody. All right. Now the Lito's coming out. All right. Now we're going to talk about the Pocket 4, and we'll talk about that coming up here in just a little bit. And we just talked about the Power Mini 1000. Okay. And let's move on down here. There's the one for the Lito. There's a DJI Mic 2 Mini. All right. Now, what I heard on that, and this is what I've heard. So, caveat emptor again on this. I've heard that the FCC has pulled permission to sell it here in the US. So just stay tuned. And like I said, and this is going to be a general rule, I would say, except on the Lito, take a step back and wait. All right. Just that's my best piece of advice for everybody, because we don't really know what's going on with everything else. So just take a step back. And it's a DJI Mic Mini. So Mic Mini 2. So it's not going to have, I didn't really do a whole lot of looking. I don't think it has that record feature. And that's the one thing I like about the Mic 2. And that's why I didn't get the Mic 3, because you can't record on the individual mics themselves. Okay. And I love that. For some reason, if that Bluetooth connection gets broken between that and your camera, you're lost in the sauce. You only have that source. Well, with the Mic 2, you don't. You have that source that you're on. And that's why you see me on my videos. I have my Mic 2 up here. I always get everything, because I walk away from what I'm shooting B-roll with, where it picks up my sound, obviously. But the Mic 2, it works head and shoulders. It's fantastic. Better than gold. So this is what we're getting from this. I just wanted to let you guys know that. All right. As far as these are the products that DJI was committed to release during the month of April. So, and the Lito, and we're going to be talking about that coming up here. And we have that show coming up, special show Thursday at 8 a.m. Eastern. So grab your coffee, grab your donuts, grab your bagels, and get ready for us, because we're gonna shoot it to you like it is, and we'll let you know everything that we know. That's coming up. Ron's going to join me here in just a little bit. All right. Okay. There's a drone that's making a lot of waves right now. No pun intended. All right. And it's one that I've had. I know Marcus has it. And why this sub $300 drone might be enough for most creators. It's a Sky Rover S1, not the X1, but the S1. And it really is packed with a lot of features. It's $289 right now. My big thing and my big knock, and I think Marcus kind of agrees with me on this as well too, is, hey, Steve, thanks for stopping by here. Yeah, Casey, I think it will be good. I really do. I really do. So, but anyway, with this, with the Sky Rover S1, not the X1, my big thing is there's no built-in screen in the controller. You gotta use your phone. Ugh. Okay, all right, we're spoiled. All right, I can speak for a lot of us here. All right, no, Droney, I asked Evelyn, and she'll have it on Thursday. So hopefully maybe like Wednesday night or so, she'll kind of drop it my way. I asked her. She hasn't told me yet. So as soon as I get that pricing, I'm going to put it out on Build a Drone Reviewer, but get to join the Lito group. You might have joined it already. It's going to be dropped out there as well too. So as soon as I get prices, I will drop them, and I will let everybody know. And I can tell you this, it's going to run. This is going to sell pretty quick. So you're going to want to get your hands in on it as soon as possible. But the Sky Rover here, they make a fantastic drone. And if you can tolerate using a phone on your controller, it's a great price and a great deal. So that's what I have to say about that. But that's something, if you're interested, they're out on Amazon. They are available, and batteries are available for them as well too, from everything that I found out. So, all right. All right. Moving on here. Okay. All right. All right. All right. We're going to talk about the Pocket 4. And, I want to make sure of some things here. All right. This was approved by the FCC back in November. I'm not exactly sure of the date, but it was approved. All right. And everything that we're hearing right now, all right, this is what we're hearing, and we're hearing it from multiple sources now. Drone DJ is reporting this. Pocket 4 camera becomes the first casualty of US FCC ban. Let's kind of go through this here a little bit. Why it's not coming to the US. Any consumer device that uses wireless communications has to go through the FCC. We all know that. All right. That's where DJI is running into trouble. The company's in place on the FCC so-called covered list. Okay. And timing is critical here. Product secured authorization. Apparently that authorization has been pulled. DJI is currently challenging this situation on the FCC's covered list in court, arguing that the designation is unfair and lacks sufficient evidence. All right. The Department of Defense has urged strict rejection of DJI's petition for reconsidering of covered list status. All right. Now, there's another article here. Here's Ron.
Hello, hey. Bill. How are you today?
Good. How are you, sir?
Good. I enjoyed watching your first flight with the Avata 360 this afternoon.
Oh, thank you. It was a lot. I had a lot of fun, Ron, and I had a lot of fun. I did a circle for my second flight, and that's going to come out this weekend. I can't tell you.
It seemed to go very well.
Yeah, it really did. And had perfect weather, too. It was absolutely perfect here.
And I'm glad you explained what those things were on the screen, where it said it had like a saying in a box, and it had a 4G button at one point. So I'm glad you explained that they were for the Chinese.
Right. That's for China only, for for enhanced video transmission, and it's gonna stay up there forever, and it's not gonna be useless to us. But it's just, maybe they might remove it via firmware update, but it's meaningless. It doesn't.
Yeah,
really
but it's
mean
good
anything.
you explain so people wouldn't be afraid something's going on with the drone.
Right, exactly. We just started talking about the Pocket 4, and this is DJI, the article from Drone DJ about this. And I'm going to go ahead and throw up the other article here right now. And let's go ahead and get that up. All right. I'm trying to look for that one. Okay.
Now, hello, Ray, Dale, and RJ in there. And hi, Sticker Pot. Sticker Pot. We met Sticker Pot. Remember, he's the gentleman that flew the anti-gravity A1 drone.
Yes.
And his name was Garrett, I believe. Correct, Bill?
Yes, that's correct.
And Sticker Pot, we need to get you in the show sometime to talk about that A1.
Absolutely. This is the other article that was posted out on DJI Rumors, out on X, on Twitter. And DJI Osmo Pocket 4 and 4 Pro banned from US release. FCC pulls approval, says leak. Is this the end? And I'll let you guys read this at your leisure. And basically they said that they pulled their approval from back in December or back in November on this. And this has kind of been confirmed. Kind of been confirmed by multiple sources. I know Jevin Dovey has reported this as well. This is reported by Drone DJ. And it's reported here as well. And we know DJI's filed has taken action against the FCC in court. So that's all to be decided. And I dropped that. I dropped the link for this article in the chat, so you guys can go ahead and read that. But it is posted on Build a Drone Reviewer Facebook group to read at your leisure. Now, one of the things that I do highly suggest.
Before you get too far down the road on this, do we know any other instance where the DJI had their FCC approval pulled after the fact? Is this the first time? I mean, to our knowledge, has this ever happened?
My knowledge is the first time it's ever happened, and I know, and I kind of did some looking as far as like ham radio circles are concerned, because again, DJI or the radios, the small handheld radios, well, all the radios have to get FCC approval by the FCC. Had they ever pulled anything? Now, they've kind of pulled some. The only instance I found where they've actually pulled it is that they found these radios have what's called spurious emissions, all right? And there was a big deal probably maybe about 10 years ago with your smartphones and, holding them up to your head and the emissions. It's the same thing, okay, with the handheld radios. You can only have, there's a certain tolerance that's allowed by the FCC, because supposedly if you do that long enough, you might get a brain tumor, okay? So they pulled some radios that had that spurious emissions, but that's been the only instance. It's been for a safety reason, not for just nefarious reasons, okay?
And Bill, of all things, if you thought DJI would ever have an FCC approval pulled, it would be a drone and not a camera, right?
Yeah, that's it really kind of boggles my mind, Ron, why this happened in this instance here. One of the articles that I suggest that you guys read is this one. It's from Sean from Air Photography, and he does a comparison between the 3 and the 4. And he basically said the decision is basically up to you. He said, looking at it like on YouTube, on your PC, there's really not much of a difference. He said, but where the Pocket 4 shines for him is on his iPad, okay? But, most of us, let's face it, are going to either be looking.
Bill, to clarify that, he meant the footage before it was uploaded to
right.
YouTube or whatever, just on your device or whatever, which of course that's great, but the only one that's ever going to see your footage on your device is you.
Exactly. Okay. So, he's what he's saying is, it's the improvements are there are some improvements there, but is it enough to warrant getting it? You know what? I would say from everything I know of, okay, but I'm not a Pocket fan. For what I'm saying is, I would say your Pocket 3 is very sufficient for your needs.
I mean, unless one of those upgrades is exactly what you're looking for. But Bill, I watched this video, Sean's comparison, and I watched my 65-inch HDR TV or whatever, and I couldn't see much difference in the video quality between the two. I mean, it was a couple times where the Pocket 4 may have looked better, but also there was a time or two where the Pocket 3 may have looked better. So if just me, if I'm buying on pure the video quality, and I understand I'm looking at it streamed on YouTube and it's compressed, but again, that's how I watch almost all video. Nobody comes over to their house and shows me video on their iPad. I wouldn't upgrade just for the pure video quality on its own. I mean, and they keep pushing the frame rates. The Pocket 4 do 4K, 240 frames per second. I mean, I'm not the biggest slow motion person in the world. 120 frames per second is slow enough for me. I mean, I'm not going to upgrade just to go from 120 to 240, in frame rates, so I can do even slower slow motion, which I only do slow motion once in blue moon. Now I get it. Somebody's whole channel may be doing slow motion, and that may be important to them. But I think that's a niche case, Bill.
I agree, Ron. And the one thing too, and I can say this, was when I had the Pocket 3, we went up north. All right. And I'm like, oh, awesome. I can, get our granddaughters. Okay. Now, it had a hard time keeping up with them. Now, granted, they're young, they're like 1.7, the other one's like 3, and they move around a lot, but still it was having a hard time with them. And we were just in their living room. All right. And I said, you know what? I got this, and I know what the use case is for it. And it wasn't going to work for me. I had better luck using my DJI Action, probably 3 at the time that I had. I had better luck using that than I did with the Pocket 3. So I ended up selling the Pocket 3 because of that fact. Okay. Because that's the kind of camera. And as you've said before, this is something you're not going to be recording something from a distance. You're going to be in the crowd. You're going to be right there with a camera like this, Ron. You're not going to be back. So like with the action cam, you can be back and get some shots with that. But with this, you're going to be in and amongst people. All right. You're going to be.
I think what you're trying to say, Bill, is, of course, the Pocket, it has a standard, like, kind of field of view where the action cameras all have a wider, almost kind of a fisheye view,
right,
which means they're going to capture all this action, where the Pocket's kind of just looking directly ahead of itself more so. So I think that's, when you have unpredictable kids doing things or whatever, they can easily get out of the camera range of the Pocket quicker than they could the action camera, especially if you put the action camera in super wide or something like that. So
exactly.
that is a good point. But I mostly use the Pocket, to like when I'm behind the camera, like filming purposeless stuff in front of me is not moving. When I'm being vlogging, I even use the action camera because I like the wider field of view as if I'm trying to have myself in a frame at the same time. So
exactly. So
I'm going to say for general use, for a lot of people, I would recommend getting the action camera over the Pocket, unless you know exactly what you're going to do with that Pocket. Probably just go with the action camera.
Droney, send me a link for that video. I would love to see that. I know the Avata 360 chasing RC cars. Send me that if you could. That would be great. Okay. So all in all, and wrapping up the Pocket 4 discussion, Ron, my advice right now is to sit back and wait and see what's going to go down with the FCC, because, we're hearing conflicting information, and just take a step back and wait on that. All right. And see how it plays out. If that's something that you got to have, just wait on this right now, because we don't know. Because I've also read things too, like, if it truly has been pulled and is on the covered list, you won't be able to get updates on the phones or firmware updates on that, is what I also read something on that today. So, all in all, take a step back, wait, see how this plays out. You don't need to, your Pocket 3 will suffice in the interim. Okay. And our good friends at Insta360 are coming out as we talked about last night on Drone Nation, with a similar camera. What's their camera called, Ron?
The Luna.
The Luna. Okay. And it looked like Wally from
and it's real because it's in the hands of the influencers that got it at NAB on Sunday. So it's real. The influencers have it. They've showed it. They can't talk much about it, but they can't show the back of it, but they show the front with the two lenses. Plus, Bill, you don't want buyer's remorse. If you really want a 2-camera system, and somehow the Pocket 4 is allowed in the US or whatever, there's heavy rumors of a Pocket Pro coming in June for only about $100 more. So if you need that zoom capabilities enough that you pay $100, you may want to. Bill, best advice is if you want a pocket camera, I would just sit tight until everything is released, all the specs, all the pricing is released, and all the legal shenanigans involving the Pocket are all, what do you want to call, firmed up or written in stone.
Exactly. Now,
and worst comes to worst, if you can't get Pocket 4, Pocket Pro used, you get the Luna, which is a similar camera. Now, again, I don't know anything about it. It may not be as good as the Pocket. It may be better. We don't know. That's why I sit tight, wait until they're out, watch the reviews, and make a more informed decision down the road, Bill.
Exactly. Now, GoPro really, kind of set us on end right here with this news.
Yes.
The GoPro Mission 1 Pro hands-on, 50 plus new features, 1-inch sensor, 8K 60, and interchangeable lenses. And, it still looks like a regular GoPro, but that's where I think the similarities end, Ron. Reading through this, I mean, it really sounds like they've taken everything that anybody said about the Hero, and they have just absolutely nailed it in terms.
It's like they put all the problems on a whiteboard and check them all off one by one. And Bill, who knows? This may be the better camera than the Pocket or the Luna. This may be the one to get. I mean, by those specs, it may have better video than the Pocket cameras. Plus, it's an indestructible action camera on top of that. So, yeah, this may be the one to get. Wait until these products are out. They're reviewed. You see side by side comparisons. You may have a couple of good cameras to choose from. So choose wisely.
Exactly. I mean, read the article. It's out on Build a Drone Reviewer. It talks about all the features. It's really loaded as far as that's concerned.
And they're coming out with their own wireless mic system. It looks just like DJI's. 2 mics come in like a little box or case or whatever. So the wireless audio problem is solved now.
So, there's a lot to this. It is in the hands. This article is by someone who is reviewing it. So definitely go out, take a look at this, watch his video. I know he's put a video out there. Did they talk about the date that this is going to come, Ron?
Well, you could pre-order it already right now.
Okay.
And it's going to ship sometime in the end of May time period. Like, I'm just throwing a date out, like May 20th or something like that. That's when it starts shipping. But you could pre-order now. You can go right to their website. They got 3 different ones. The one that takes the interchangeable lenses is not available yet. They didn't have a date on that. But the other 2 are available for pre-order, and it will come sometime in the second half of May. So you could have it ready to go by summer.
And I would heed Ron's advice on this, especially with something this new. I mean, GoPro's really stepped up to the plate with this as far as, what we're seeing here.
On paper they have.
On paper, okay. The world is perfect on paper, all right?
Yes.
And, it's when you see real world reviewers out there using this, give it a shake. This isn't a normal GoPro, okay? So,
this is your father's GoPro. No. And
exactly.
Bill, we know how things are on paper. Remember when the Hubsan Mini Pro drone came out? On the side of the box, that drone was perfect.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It was going
to be the best mini drone of all time until you got it.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Exactly. That explains why Hubsan's not around anymore. All right. I want to spend a few minutes before we talk about the Lito, about the Avata 360. All right. First of all, I want to thank everybody because I got a lot of compliments, people letting me know about the GPS situation with this. Okay. Because it's something that you need to pay attention to before you take it out for your first flight. And I had somebody was real interesting over in Sweden, emailed me and said, never had any GPS issues, but everybody, just about 9 or 10 other people emailed me and commented and let me know that, yeah, thank you for letting us know. Thank you for that video. And we did it and it worked. Okay. So
now, Bill, is that only on the first flight? Do you only get the GPS?
It's only on the first flight because when I fired it up, The second time, after I initially got the lock in the driveway, when I went up to fly it the next day, right away, I had 30 satellites instantly.
Okay.
There was no question. I mean, it was
That's
right
a good
there.
warning so people don't get thing out of the box and panic.
Yeah. And the other thing is when you're doing this, it's called charting a catalog, I think is what it's called. It needs to, all the drones need to do that. It was very, very prominent with the Mavic 3. We all remember that. All right.
Yeah,
DJI just did a firmware update to speed up the process, but it needs to do that. One of the things is you can't be near your house. You have to be out and away from your house, and you can't be in a wooded area at all. You have to have clear 100% view of the sky in order to do this. Okay. That's the only way that that's going to work.
And you have a video on this, right? I haven't got to see it yet.
I have a video on it.
I have it in my queue, but I haven't got to watch it. So do you think this issue is caused because you're getting set in a drone from mainland China? Do you think that's the issue?
No, I just think what they did, Ron, was I think their protocols on this, I think it was kind of like the Mavic 3. They'll probably, my guess is, this is just a guess, is they'll probably end up doing a firmware update because people are impatient. And, I know our friend Gorilla Man, he ended up sending his back because he actually tried it several times and he waited and he was real patient and it didn't work for him. So kudos to you, G-Man, for doing that, and keep us posted as to how that goes. But
hey, Bill, another quick question before we get too far along here about the Avata 360. Now, we know you bought it off of Evelyn Chan. She's, of course, based in China. Now, I know this question gets asked a lot. Did she pre-activate your drone, or did you activate it yourself?
I activated it myself.
And you had no issue activating it in the U.S.?
None.
Because people are scared. People are scared that you can't activate in the U.S., so you could put that to rest.
Yeah. I fired it up, entered my email address, boom, boom, boom. In 3 or 4 minutes, boom, it was taken care of.
But you've seen that some sellers are saying they're going to activate the drone before they send it to you. You've seen that, right?
Right. I've seen several of those out there. So, and that I'm a little hanky on because when I'm buying a drone that's new, Ron, I want it sealed in the plastic. I don't want someone that's fired it up because I don't know what's been done. Okay, that's just who I am. But if you're okay with it, go for it. I mean, that's.
I mean, as long as the seller is full disclosure now, if he tells you you're doing it, you have the right not to buy it.
Yeah, exactly. So, one of the other things that I want to let everybody know, get extra batteries. Okay, it's advertised about 15 minutes. That's what people have said, and that's probably realistically what you're going to get. It's going to be.
Is that about what you got in your first flight?
Yeah, it's about exactly what I got, and that's why it was like I got down.
And you said you flew in a pretty windless environment, so if it had been windy, you may have even got less.
Yeah, I may have even gotten less. So I would strongly encourage you not just to get extra batteries from Evelyn, okay, because she does have the best price on those. Get the battery charging pack as well too from her. They're inexpensive. It's like $35-$40, okay, and her batteries, like I said, they're the best price. Get extra ones. I'm probably going to end up getting at least another 1 or 2 more batteries from her as well because I mean you will deplete them fast. The real good thing, Ron, that I found out is, okay, I got a 256 gigabyte SD card in there. It had like another 4 hours of recording time when I was done after both my flights the other day. So, I mean, all in all, it went really well as far as that.
Pretty good for 8K 60 video. Yes.
Yeah. And what I did was I brought a second battery so I can take that second flight because without that, I couldn't have taken a flight. I had like maybe 35% left on the first battery. So,
Bill, you mentioned Evelyn, and we talked about her last night. Of course, and somebody mentioned in the chat. Forget who it was. Sorry, but they said that I think it was Captain Joe said the prices had dropped on eBay. So, Bill, I went and looked today. He is right. The price on eBay has really dropped on the Avata 360, especially in the packages that have all the stuff. Maybe not in the bare boat. Well, it's hard to find a drone only package, but the packages that are most expensive have taken up to $100 price drops in the last couple of days. So if you wait a little bit, you could probably get a better deal now than you could have just a week ago.
Yeah. So, keep your ear to the ground. See what's going on out there.
Sites like I forget the names. One of them's like I don't even want to say names. It's 2 stores. They'll get the drone to you in like 2 to 4 days. I mean, they from South Korea to your door in the US, it's like some of them are offering 2 to 4 day shipping. So that's almost like immediate.
Yeah, that's really fascinating.
With no shipping cost, free shipping, and they get to you between 2 and 4 days. At least if you live on the East Coast of the U.S. And I'm going to say we're farther away from China than the West Coast than the rest of the country is, right? We're probably as far as
Oh
we
yeah,
can get.
where we're at, yeah, absolutely. And you know,
Here we go. Joe Noki saying $859 for the combo in eBay 102 store. And again, I believe that's one of the ones that ships it. Thank you, Joe Noki. I believe that's one of the 2 to 4 day shipping, at least for me or whatever. Ones. So I mean, and that combo bill, that of course that's a drone, the RC2 controller, the 3 batteries, the charging hub, the case, the landing pad, extra props. So that's the full banana there, Bill.
Yeah, that's a good deal.
Everything you need. Well, like you said, maybe you can get extra battery stuff down the road, but that's everything you need. If you already own goggles, I mean, that's really everything you need then.
Yeah. So one of the other things that I want to let you guys know too about this is, you know, a couple other things that I noticed too. The sound level. I was expecting it to be, it was loud, but it didn't seem overly loud to me. Okay. You know,
how about compared to the Neo 2?
It's quieter, I think, than a Neo 2, Ron. Okay. I will definitely say that. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if any of you in the chat would what your reaction may be, but for me, I found it to be quieter than the Neo 2. The pitch, at least. Okay.
Stickerpot said he bought the Avata 360 for $867 plus tax. Okay. Yeah, we're all paying tax. Yeah.
So
thanks for that. And again, I really want to get Stinkerpot on when he's had a chance to fly both drones and kind of compare them. Stinkerpot, whenever you've got enough stick time on the 360 and the Avata, you let us know, and we'd love to have you on to talk about the comparison. But Bill, not only with the noising, but I was impressed with the video about how well you thought the drone flew. You were really impressed by the handling of the drone.
It handled really well, Ron, and I was very impressed with that because you know, to have a platform like this that you're recording, you know, 360 video on, you want to make sure that it has great handling and flight characteristics. It was like flying just about anything else, some of the wider drones, because I was expecting to have a little bit some issues because of it being so compact. You know, because, you know, you're flying a Mavic 4 or you're flying a Mini 5 Pro, you know, the props are spread out. So you have some, you know, distance there. The props are more compact with the Avata 360.
Yeah, I mean, those inductive things, all those drones, those protective props, they all seem to be kind of floaty. Like, as good as the Neo 2 is, it can be a little bit floaty if it's any wind at all.
Exactly. And you know, that's why with this, I think, and I've heard some people saying it handled wind about 15, 20 miles an hour. Not any problem. For me, it was a perfectly calm day. I mean,
Bill, that extra weight that it has over the Avata 2 probably enables it to fly better.
I think so, Ron. I had zero problem with flight handling characteristics. Both times it stuck the landing on the mat. There was no problem with return to home. It worked perfectly as far as that's concerned.
Now, did you ever get close to anything to test the obstacle avoidance?
No, I didn't. That's going to be
that's another video, right?
That's another video. But I did do circle in my second video, and that seemed to work real well. I haven't really looked at the footage too much yet. I want a couple things about DJI Studio. Okay, number one, make sure that you update. And I know I mentioned this before. Make sure your video cards have the latest drivers on them on your PCs or Macs. Okay, I don't know how you do it on Macs, but on PCs, make sure it has the latest drivers on them, because if it doesn't, DJI Studio is going to let you know. It's going to stop the install, and so you need to update your drivers. Just want to let you guys know that.
Yeah, I mean, because Apple makes everything. The drivers and operating system are all one. It's
okay.
It's on the Apple side. There's no such thing as worrying about the drivers. It's all done under the hood.
That's a good thing. One of the other things is, as far as, you know, the processing is concerned, a couple of things. I watched a great video by Sean from Air Photography on DJI Studio for the Avata 360, and he did it on his iPad, you know. And I know a lot of people said, well, it's not a PC, but I said, yeah, but the basic ideas are right, and he had it down there. And one of the first things that he mentions is this, and this is important. All right. When you start where you start your 360 video, you drop a keyframe there. You don't do anything with that. You just drop it there. And then say, 35 seconds into the video is when you want to make a turn or go upside down or whatever. Okay. And you hit your keyframe right there. What happens is if you don't put that initial keyframe at the beginning, it's going to make that turn immediately. All right. When you start your video. If you drop that keyframe there up until 35 seconds, it's going to follow that course. Okay. So that was a huge tip from Sean, and Sean, thank you for that. Okay. And I want to pass that on to you guys. In the export process, when you're exporting it to, DaVinci, Final Cut Pro or whatever. All right. You'll hit a button and it'll call export. Okay. It takes a couple of minutes to do that. All right. You'll see a percentage indicator up there. It's not ready immediately. You may see a file out there, but it's not ready until you see it up in the corner saying 100%. I just want to make you guys aware of that as well too. But Ron, I found no issues in doing that. I was a complete rookie with that. It probably only took me about 35 minutes or so to get the clip that I wanted to. And that's because I was watching Sean and trying it as well. I got it down. So when I do my next video, that workflow is going to cut way down.
And don't worry about Sean doing an iPad or whatever. He's usually using the latest ones. He probably got the M5. That thing will chew through like 8K video faster than most computers or whatever. In fact, anybody that says, well, I don't have the hardware to do it. If you have a recent phone or whatever, just do it on your phone or whatever. My phone has no problem doing the 8K video. You see what Dale said there? He was out in 22-mile-per-hour winds with a 360 and did just fine. Thanks for that report, Dale. And Dale's I believe when Dale's home, I believe he's up in Rhode Island.
Thank you, Dale. Appreciate that. So, all in all, like I said, I got my second video coming out, probably later in the week, and I'm going to go out again this weekend because I'm just having a blast with it. And, it's not, and I do want to say this, and I think we had talked about this before as well. A lot of people, this is not a Mavic 4 Pro. This is not an Air 3S. You're not going to get, all the camera features that you're going to get with those drones. We all know that. That's
it doesn't replace those drones, no.
Right. This is not going to replace either of those drones. But I'm looking at this as being able to do something that just absolutely will blow people's minds away. It's like I showed this to Valerie. She's like, "Oh my gosh," because I was down all of a sudden, and then I made a turn, and then I was looking up straight, and she just loved that. She's the whole concept behind that. And then, going down, following the path that I was following it from the side. And, what an interesting perspective to be able to do things like this. So literally you can have a dozen videos from shooting one video. I mean, that's how,
and Bill, I will add on that I watched to watch the video quality. I watched a video on my 65-inch HDR TV. And, you couldn't see this on a phone or a tablet or a 13-inch laptop, but on a big screen, I could definitely tell I was looking at 1080p video, not 4K. So, anybody that, is making video for big screen TVs, you could definitely see it's not 4K. And at one point near the end, Bill, I could see that the stitching line on the house or something in the distance.
Yeah, I saw that.
I didn't notice that until the last couple of minutes. And again, I saw that, and so that was a small kind. But believe me, Bill, if you shoot a 360 video, or I'm going to say, if you shoot 5 minutes of 360 video, it's a miracle if you get through without any stitching, no matter what camera you're using.
Yeah, and Jevin Dovey talked about that on his video as well too. So, and you know what? I'm fine with it because you know what? I saw it and I just glossed over it.
Guess what? All the people watching that on their phone didn't see that stitching. I saw it because I was on big screen TV. But again, just be prepared. If you're looking at it on a big computer monitor or big TV, it's not going to look 4K. It's going to look 1080p, and that's because when you punch in and do all that stuff, you're punching into the, it's 8K for the whole spherical video. And when you're punching in, you come out with, around 1080p or whatever. And again, that 1080p, it's a good looking 1080p, and it's going to look great on smaller devices.
Exactly. We're going to move on here to the Lito. And, we have, first of all, we're going to have maybe, who knows, one of the last launch parties until this whole mess gets squared away. and Johnny said he's going to bring coffee and donuts. So
yes,
hopefully he does.
Mark going to set the alarm clock for early morning.
Yeah, Marcus is going to be up at 0 dark 30 for him. Poor Marcus. We know. We love you, Marcus, but we know you're not a morning person. Okay.
Right.
But no, it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have a blast as we always do. So join us. We'll drop.
We rarely get 2 drones on a release, Bill.
Yeah, this is a first. Okay, they're releasing 2 drones at once, and we're going to go ahead and look at the article here that was placed out on Drone XL, and it really is a good article because we had a whole lot leaked to us. Now, I did post out there on the Lito group, what Igor Bogdanov had posted about this as well too. But apparently, this Canadian dealer just pretty much leaked the whole 9 yards. As far as there's some pictures of it here. He's talking about some of the specifications here. Photos go up to 8064 by 6048. Video tops out at 4K 100, full HD, pushing to 200 frames per second, and dedicated 2.7 vertical mode. Okay, it records H.264 and H.265. Supports 10-bit H.265. It includes D-Log, color for grading.
That's important, Bill, because a lot of people's computers don't handle H.265 well, so it's important that it also records an H.264.
And the thing that stopped me right away is what's in the center of that screen, Ron. That beautiful, wonderful controller.
Yeah. Unlike the Sky Rover drones, who you have to use your phone with, these will work with the RC2. Yep. OcuSync 4 on both of them, I believe, Bill.
Yes, and it does run OcuSync 4 transmission system here. Transmission is OcuSync 4 with 15-kilometer range using the DJI RC2. Onboard storage is 42 gigabytes. Flight time is listed as 36 minutes on the standard battery and 52 minutes with a battery plus. Again, we're talking about the X1. There's the 1 and the X1. Just want to kind of
and the X1 is the premium one, correct, Bill?
Right. The X1 is the premium one. The one is more like the Mini 4K. If you want to try to equate that. Now you can take a look here, and we kind of blew this up. Ron blew this up last night. I didn't do that.
Just pinch in with your fingers. If you could do that or pinch in with the mouse. Somehow I pinched. I didn't do anything fancy. I just pinched in.
Let me see if I can hit the. I think I hit.
You know what? I have a trackpad on my computer, Bill. Do you have a trackpad? You probably can't do it. You don't have a trackpad.
No. Yeah. Here, hang on a second. Here.
Maybe you shift and hit the plus button.
Yeah, I just tried that. I'm gonna try that again here. No, it's not doing it. So okay.
I mean, Bill, let me help people out. The camera, I think the budget one's a 1.2 size, and the other one's a 1/1.3, the better one or whatever. So.
Right.
Basically, the budget one has the same size sensor as the Neo 2, and the better one has the same size sensor as, say, the Mini 4 Pro.
Exactly here, and so it's 42 gigabytes of onboard storage on the X1. Lito X1 versus Mini 5 Pro, the family argument. There's some discussion about that. Look at these numbers next to Lito X1. You see what DJI did. Same weight class, same flight time. Same onboard storage, same battery plus strategy. Just like comparing this to the Mini 5 Pro. One of the things I saw in pricing.
Bill, do you think this will use the same battery as the say the Mini 5, Mini 4 series of drones?
I would strongly suspect that it would, Ron, because it's like reinventing the wheel. I don't think DJI would want to go back and have to reinvent the whole battery technology again. If they can make a battery that's going to fit from the 5 into this, they're going to do it. And I think that
what battery did the Mini 4K use? Like the same battery the Mini 2 had?
Yeah, use the same batteries the Mini 2 had. And I think these will be great if these are interchangeable because they're already out there and they're plentiful as far as being able to get it. Now, from what I heard pricing, I think the X1 is going to top out for like a Flymore combo at $759. Now, I talked to Evelyn yesterday, and she told me she won't have pricing until the 23rd. So that won't be until Thursday, probably sometime Thursday morning, maybe overnight. We'll get that information as far as pricing and availability is concerned. But
have you checked to see if the eBayers have them listed yet?
No, I didn't do that. That was one of the things I had
didn't
thought
look.
about.
I didn't even check. I was so busy looking at Avata 360 that I did not check the big eBayers.
Yeah, I did not do that yet. But Evelyn's going to have them. She did confirm that she will get them. And expect the same as far as shipping time is concerned. The 8, 9, 10 day kind of time frame as far as that's concerned. Let's take a look right here. Just seeing if there's any.
Dronoki's quoting 329 to 399 for the budget one, and then 699 to 759 for the more premium one. I don't know if those prices are drone only or fly more combos, or whether there's even going to be fly more combos. We don't know that.
Yeah, and I think the Lito one, I think you're just going to get a standard like N3 kind of controller with that, Ron. I don't think you're going to get the R2 controller with that.
But if it has the 04, maybe, but it would work with the RC2 if you had one, most likely, right?
That's very possible for that. Casey,
what do you guys think will make this new Lito drone different from the Mini 4 and Mini 5? We kind of explained last night. This isn't DJI's not releasing what do you call on the edge technology here. These drones aren't pushing the technology forward. These are just kind of a budget line of drones that DJI does. They'll probably discontinue the Mini 4 Pro in the near future, and the Mini and the Mini 4K, and these will replace it. There'll be better drones than those drones at a sharper price point. So these drones are not meant. If you already own the flagship drones, if you own Mini 5, Air 3S, Mavic 4 Pro, these drones aren't replacing those drones. They're not taking their place at all. These are for beginner drone flyers, people on budgets, things like that, Bill.
Exactly. Now, we kind of talked about this, and I know we've talked about it, and I've mentioned it before, and I talked about this last night when I was on Drone Nation, is, I always have kind of liked, DJI fitting slots as far as pricing is concerned. And this is the first time, this is something that really kind of excites me, Ron, is that they're actually doing that here, is they're hitting this niche as far as, having a mini drone is concerned, and having it well equipped. Now, not as well equipped as a Mini 5 Pro, but it's coming in. It's probably going to come in at about $150 under what the Mini 5 Pro would sell normally, as far as retail would be concerned. And I think that's a great thing. And I think they're not, and you explained it real well. They're not, trying to take the place of a Mini 5 Pro. They're trying to throw in something that's going to be probably just a little bit below in terms of the camera quality.
This is probably a Mini 4 Pro V2 or something like that, or whatever.
Yeah.
Somewhere in between the Mini 4 Pro and Mini 5 Pro.
Yeah.
And I think the more important price side here isn't the X1, the premium one, because there's really not a whole lot available in that category. It's not DJI, but that 329 to 399 category of mini drones, that's a crowded category. You got the Potensics in there, the Themes. There's a whole bunch of people that operate in that price range. And you know what? The Mini 4K is a little kind of little what do you call it, long in the tooth, a little older. It doesn't have all the tracking features and waypoints and stuff that these other drones in that price range have. So if DJI can kind of up the feature game, they can come in, and now they will rule that category. Again, because obviously they got the transmission, the cameras, and so on. So once they can match these other drones for features, they can dominate that category, because again, they're a little long in the tooth, and the competitors have more features than they do.
Well, the Lito one, and I talked about before you joined us about the Sky Rover S1, which is coming in at $289. Okay, so it's about what, maybe $40 less.
But that drone's already long in tooth. That doesn't have a controller with the screen. So
exactly,
but the Sky Rover DJI, their offerings in that low price category, they're a little bit behind some of the competitors, like the Potensic Atom, which has all waypoints, tracking, all of that stuff or whatever, and also has a control with the screen. So they've kind of fallen behind in that that $300 to $400 price point range.
I agree, and I think having that controller has really sparked a lot of interest in Potensic. But I think some of the people, and you've talked to people, I know Marcus has talked about it, that video quality isn't quite what you would expect from a DJI drone. Okay, with the Potensic,
but a lot of people at that price range, they weigh the features even a little bit higher than they do the camera quality. I mean, they don't want bad camera quality, but they'd rather have features than have the best camera quality.
Exactly. Okay. Features. Exactly. Because at this point, at this kind of a price point, Ron, you want to buy something that's going to have these features such as like the obstacle avoidance, return to home,
tracking
type of thing.
But tracking and waypoints and things like that are not available on a lot of even the DJI budget drones in that price range.
Yeah. So I think they've really done their homework on this. And I'm really excited because the more information we find out about this, it's like they're fitting that slot, and they're filling that slot up, that pricing slot, and they're doing it real well. Like you said, that $329 to $399 segment's very crowded. There's a lot going on there, and obviously they couldn't.
DJI already rolls the $699 to $759. DJI rolls anyway the $699 to $1,000 category. There's really no competition for DJI at that higher price. They only compete with themselves at that higher price point, but they do compete with a whole bunch of other drones in that $300 to $400 price range.
Yeah, exactly. So
and they're not, and right now they're not the most They're not in the bleeding edge in that category. They're kind of at the opposite of bleeding edge compared to like Potensic and some of the other players.
So that's a real good segment, and that's something to keep an eye on. I'm planning on it availability wise. I'm planning on trying to get them both on Thursday when they're available. I'm excited. I'm especially excited that for the feature set, for what you're going to get for this. I think it's going to be a great drone. I'm hoping and crossing my fingers the batteries will be interchangeable. If they were, that's going to be fantastic. And of course, one of the things I would suggest, and this is just me, if you're going to get them from Evelyn, get extra batteries because she's going to have them priced well, as long as she gets good prices, and also like an extra charging hub as well too. And one of the things, and let me pass this on to everybody. Okay. The 65-watt charger that DJI used to have and include with the drones. Okay. Well, she has them for like $35, which is it's like at least $30 less than what DJI would sell them for $65 to $70. I picked up a couple extra ones a couple of orders ago, and I'm real happy because I was charging my Air 3S up. I had one of them charging up the batteries. I had one of them charging up the controller. Okay. And it took a lot less time doing something like that. And it's a great deal. In fact, I'm going to pick up a couple more, when I order the Litos on Thursday. I'm going to pick up a couple more of those because I think, having those on hand, they're small, they're compact, they fold, they're easy, they fit inside a drone case real well. So
maybe I'll get one too. I mean, I got a bunch of anchors, but the thing is, whenever I get a Star RC drone case, it only fits the DJI charger. So maybe I'll get one or two.
And what's nice is it has a USB slot in there too, so you can plug. It's a USB-A, so you can plug that in, and you're charging up two things at once with that, which is nice. And it's 65 watts, okay, and $35. I mean, that's a steal. So I'm definitely gonna get a couple more from her as far as that's concerned. So, but yeah, I would do that on Thursday if you're gonna order the Lito. Order extra batteries just off the top. I do that because Evelyn's had great prices on that, and it all comes at once.
And we talked about battery compatibility. One of the downsides of the Sky Rover was those batteries. They looked to fit like the DJI batteries, but they didn't work, right?
Exactly.
And let's hope even though they come up with a new name, the Lito, hopefully those batteries are not what we'll say basically software killed or whatever. That they would work. In case you already had a mini 3, 4, or 5 around, the batteries would be swappable with these new Litos.
Yeah,
I'm saying hopefully. We have no idea what the batteries on it. We have no idea how much change the chassis is going to be to these Litos. These Litos, for all we know, Bill, they could be redesigned from the ground up. Nothing could be compatible.
Well, let me go ahead and show this here before we sign off.
Giggles is asking, what does the Lito drone look like, Bill? What?
Well, let me
We
go
don't have
ahead. I'll
we
get
don't have a
get a
picture
picture up
handy, do
here in a
we?
second here. All right, I did follow. Oh, Mario, thank you for this. I went ahead and
Oh, he figured it out, huh?
yeah, let's go ahead and get that.
And see if you see the picture for picture of the Lito for TJ.
There it is right here.
Yeah.
And again, this is posted out on Build a Drone Reviewer Facebook group. So you can do that. I'm going to go ahead and bring up a nice picture that I have of the Lito.
Bill, would you say it's a better looking drone than the Mini 5, or?
Yeah, I would. I think they've done some polishing as far as the looks and aesthetics are concerned. Here we go. Okay. This is the Lito X1.
Okay. I see that big sensor on top, Bill.
Yep, that sensor's on top right there.
That's not a bad looking drone.
Yeah, I like it. I think it looks good. And you can see the sensors on the back too. So
yeah. Oh yeah. Because I believe the one advantage this will have over the Mini 5 Pro, I think this will have this board's so generic, more omnidirectional optical sensing than the Mini 5 Pro. I've heard that, but I can't.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard that too. So Tanya, welcome. Good to see you tonight.
Yeah.
Thank you for stopping by. So that's all in all.
We'll know a lot. We'll know a lot more Thursday morning, and then
exactly.
Once we watch all the reviews, we'll know even a lot more Thursday night. Or by the time we do the show next Tuesday, we'll know a whole lot, Bill.
Yeah, we'll know a whole lot about it. It'll hopefully be on its way for those of us that have ordered one from Evelyn. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And like I said, Ron, I think one of the things DJI has done is they've kind of spoiled us with the R2 controllers, having the built-in screen like that. Because, going back to anything else, it feels like you're going back to the Stone Ages using a controller with a phone, and getting it hooked up.
Yeah. I use my I use the Mini 5 more over the phone than you would think, just because it's so inconvenient to switch the RC2 in the field from one drone to another. It's a process. Sometimes I just need to get up in the air. The sun's going down quick. I can't wait that 5 minutes it takes to see the switch the RC2 from one drone to another, because I'm always forget to do it at home before I go out.
Exactly. So, any closing thoughts for tonight,
Ron?
Closing
thoughts, Bill. Here, I'll give you a good one. So I was flying with one of our favorite drones, the Mavic 4 Pro. Okay. And I had a bunch of batteries, and they all were semi-charged. And I remembered to use that feature where you see the power button there. You hold that power button in long enough, and then the three batteries, they set all the charge to one battery, and it worked perfectly. Look at this. So that one has one thing. This one has one dot, and it moves all the power to the middle one.
Wow, that's great.
Which one of them had? I mean, when I was done flying, one of them had two lights. Another had two lights. Maybe one had one light or something. Three. They were all in a semi-discharged state. So I just moved this thing. I got one good battery, and all I have to do is charge the other two now. So that's a feature that I forget to use. They do these great features, and you forget to use them. So just remember. And it's not just the Mavic 4 Pro that has those features. Some of the other drones too.
I think the Air 3S has that too.
Yeah.
I think so too.
I like Buckle Bill's joke. Can't wait.
Yeah, Lito Shuffle.
I'm glad you brought it up, Bill. Boz Skaggs will be joining us Thursday morning.
That's right. Boz is going to be there Thursday morning with us. He said all he likes are bagels and coffee. So we're good. So by the way, I saw, he was one of my favorite artists back in the day. I absolutely love Boz Skaggs. Fantastic.
There's a couple albums he had in the mid late 70s. They were great records.
That Silk Degrees, that was just that.
Oh, that's a good one.
Wow, that was just fantastic. I had that. I wore that thing out. I had it on cassette.
Oh boy.
And I had an album, and I wore both of those out. It was just, I would keep
I may
playing
have
it
had
all
on
the time.
set or something, but yeah. So,
Well,
all right. I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. Great comments, great chat out there. You guys, support us. Thank you so much.
absolutely. And I want to thank everybody that stopped by tonight. And also, again, I do want to make mention of the fact, okay, just it was so great meeting all of you who we met for a lot of us met people for the first time. And I know I said this at the top of the show, and I kind of want to close with that. Nothing beats that impersonal, that personal contact. Got to meet RJ Redding, got to meet Phil, DD Fellows, got to meet Josh, got to meet John Gregory. I mean, just a whole host of people.
Dale's Drones that was in here
Dale's
tonight.
Drones.
Sticker Pot. A lot of the people we got to meet for the first time are right here supporting us in chat tonight.
Yeah, you guys are absolutely great. And I know, and I speak for Valerie too. She really enjoyed meeting all you guys as well too. Of course, it never hurts to bring Valerie with me because I instantly gain popularity when she's with me. So, I mean,
the better half or whatever. Yeah.
All right, guys, have a great rest of your week, and don't forget to tune in Thursday at 8 a.m. on Drone Nation. We're going to be there with the Lito Shuffle.
Yeah. Awesome. Bye.
Take care, guys. See you then.